Bitcoin's price has been dropping aggressively over the last 8 months or so. Now, of course, it's important. First, let's zoom out. If we go ahead and we zoom out, what we can see here on the price is that Bitcoin is up a lot over a long period of time. But again, over the last 8 months, you can see that Bitcoin has fallen from $69,000 back in November all the way today to about $23,300. Now, many people are worried about the price, and they should be. That's the thing that moves on a day-to-day basis. But there is a difference between price and value. Price is the thing that people are willing to trade on a daily basis, but value is actually what is going to hold over the long period of time if it's a good asset. During these times when price is falling, it's always important to reevaluate your investment thesis. Is Bitcoin, as an open source, decentralized digital currency with a programmatic monetary policy and a finite supply, still valuable? Or has that value come down with price? If it hasn't, that just means that price and value are diverging, and ultimately it's undervalued. But that is important to actually go look at the underlying fundamentals before we can make that conclusion. So let's jump right in and take a first look at hash rate. With the hash rate, what we can see is that it has quadrupled over the last 3 years. This shows that Bitcoin is more secure today than it has been ever before. If we then take a look at the average transaction fee paid on layer 1 of Bitcoin, we can see that today it's under $1.50. That means that it is incredibly cheap to go ahead and make very large transfers of value. But more importantly, you can see back in 2017, there was a huge spike in fees when Bitcoin hit an all-time high at $20,000. And then in Q1 and Q2 of 2021, the first time we hit a new all-time high, we saw a big spike in fees as well. But as you'll notice from this chart, as we entered into the latter half of 2021, even though price went back and hit a new all-time high of $69,000, there was no large increase in fees. That's because there's been tons of innovation on layer 1 and also a very large rise in the adoption of the Lightning Network. Then if we take a look at the on-chain distribution of Bitcoin, we can see that there are wallet addresses holding 0.01 Bitcoin, 0.1 Bitcoin, and 1 Bitcoin, all hitting all-time highs. These small players in the Bitcoin market, they continue to dollar cost average. They continue to suck up economic value. And it's actually the whales, the large holders of Bitcoin that are selling, while the little guys, the plebs, they're the ones who are buying up all that Bitcoin. Then we can take a look at long-term versus short-term holders. And Will Clemente pointing out that we are watching the short-term holder cost basis actually drop at the same time that the long-term holder cost basis is rising. Historically, when these two things have crossed and the short-term holder cost basis has gone below the long-term holder cost basis, it has signaled a very, very attractive price point. Next up, we can look at transaction metrics. And when we look here at the active addresses, we can see that even though price has been drawing down, the number of active addresses is still in line and within the range that we have seen historically. The same is also true of the number of transactions on the network as well. We continue to see the number of transactions showing right within that same exact range. We can see here that the number of transactions continue to show right within that historical range as well. Next up, we can take a look at the percent of Bitcoin in circulating supply that's in profit. We're now under 52% of Bitcoin in circulation actually in profit. That may seem low compared to historical norms, but unfortunately, usually we see under 50% in bear markets. And so somewhere in that 40 to 45% range, something to keep an eye out. And then lastly, the Lightning Network capacity continues to reach all-time high levels as well. And it just seems to be growing like a weed up and to the right. Now, of course, nobody knows what's going to happen. The Federal Reserve is in control right now. They are tanking asset prices across markets by raising interest rates and conducting quantitative tightening. All assets are one trade at the moment. But what is important for you as an investor to do is take a look at what's happening with the price. Be aware of it, pay attention to it, but also understand what the underlying fundamentals are. Are you actually seeing the fundamentals degrade? Are they getting worse? Or is this simply price diverging from the value of an asset? Now, of course, when I go and I reevaluate, I revisit my investment thesis over the weekend, I come to the same conclusion. Bitcoin is not only continuing to be adopted, it's not only doing exactly what it was supposed to do, but it's actually reaching all-time highs in a number of these underlying fundamentals. That makes me very confident that Bitcoin is still in the exact same place that it was before the price started to fall. Now, the price could go down more or maybe not. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is that price and value seem to be diverging. And if you're a long-term holder, you simply want to understand what the value of the asset is, not necessarily the price. I hope this is helpful as you continue to break down Bitcoin and what you're going to do over the coming months. But understand the difference between price and value is important in every asset. And Bitcoin is no different. Hey you, did you like this video? Great, we make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and see you next time.